Why, hello there. All right. Looks like the room's usually I come in the room and there's somebody else sitting in here doing some stuff, but he's doing his best impersonation of handyman. So Tom is on assignment, handling some plumbing issues for the lovely University of Slippery Rock University. So yeah, man in the fort today. I've got my glasses on, so we all know what that means. That means there's going to be some guests, because of course, it's the key to success of this podcast, making sure you smarter people than you to have conversations. So that's definitely what we've done. What we've done today, and it's going to be a phenomenal show. And if you looked at the title, the KTI Star Edition, the stars are going to be shining bright today. So we had KTI Summit in Shippensburg. We're going to be talking a little bit about that. Everybody's going through their Teacher Sunday, and I'll ask the question if some people are back. I know Dom and I talked a little bit, but we're back in in-person today, and let me tell you, sometimes our building does it a little different. So we had the first 2.5 hours of our day. We showed up. We had some yogurt parfait, some water, some fellowship. We went in. We got directions on a scavenger hunt we were doing. Unfortunately, we weren't using Goose Chase. I know the KTI, PAECT, we love Goose Chase. But it was just good old Google Drive with some printouts and QR codes. And so my day started at 8:10, getting in a car, leaving school, arriving at my principal's house, parking and blocking the driveway so other teachers could get there, because again, we were competing for points, and cannonballing in the pool in that yard. And two other teachers joined me, so 3 out of our 5 jumped in. And they had point values for everything. So going in the water was 25 points. Of course, I'm being the one guy on the team right away. They were like, "You doing it?" I'm like, all right, whatever. Woke up, it was a little cold, but I got in. Afterwards, I was leaving, and I sent him a text message. Thanks, you heated the pool for me. And so it was a little warm temperatures, but so we definitely had a interesting start to our day. We were in first day number 2. We've got one more day without kids, and then our kids show up on Thursday. On Monday, we have a long day because we had instruments all day, and then that evening we had back to school night. So got to meet our parents. Still not sure who their children are, but again, letting them hear from us and what we're doing. So I always like to talk to other teachers and find out what is everybody doing in their schools, their school districts. How do they handle, some of those beginning of the year scenarios. So hopefully you're all experiencing some good times. You're about ready to go back. Once you get into the flow, it's do what we do. It's what we love, right? So there's no time to talk football. So the dog walkers are, not going to have our voices as much to fend off anybody in the morning when they're walking listening to our podcast. But my wife will be happy that there's less football talk, because she always gives me a hard time about people don't want to hear about your football teams. I don't know. You beg to differ. All right. Maybe even less about the Dolphins, maybe more about the Pennsylvania teams. It is what it is. So it's time for the ACT Pod. We've got an amazing show tonight. So let's go ahead. Let's kick off. Welcome to the PAECT Pod, a show for educators by educators. PAECT is a 100% volunteer-run organization. I got a little feedback on this. I know what it is. Hold on a second. Pardon me. I got YouTube open on the other screen, so it's double playing. So anyway, PAECT Pod, episode 85, the KTI Rewind, KTI Star Edition. If you were with us last week, you would have heard the KTI lead learners. And this week, we're talking to the KTI Stars. And I believe Handy Manny just entered the room. Hey, buddy, how we doing?
Hey.
We're doing it in reverse. I had the serious talk without you. We talked about how you gave up on football and you're going to take up ice skating. And but yeah, so how are things going? Things the plumbing
good.
All good?
Good. I don't know what you told our listeners and viewers, but I do have to say it's not nice to play hide and seek virtually and never go looking for the person you tell to hide.
Listen, I did tell him you were playing Handy Manny and you were helping out Slippery Rock University.
Yes.
I'm hoping you get a deduction in the bill for the time. So anyway, but hopefully it's all good. But are you back to school yet, other than plumbing at universities?
Yeah, our floating in service started this week.
Okay.
So I made a couple TikToks on my personal TikTok account.
I didn't see those.
And drove one of my colleagues nuts. You and your TikToks. So I have my little Zen fountain. I got my Zen fountain working. I said Zen garden because I'm going to put some plants around it. So I made a TikTok for that colleague. I'm not going to put that person on blast.
That's fine. Yep.
But yeah, so I was getting my room set up, started yesterday, got a couple hours in today. I have a few hours to go tomorrow. Mandatory in-service is Thursday, Friday. I'm off Monday. Kids come Tuesday. But my honor students have been doing, we've been reading night. And, they're doing that. So they've been working with the pro. I know.
I said everybody's going to be happy because we weren't talking football. Cole's backing us up. Some people do want to hear about football. Okay. I appreciate that. Good stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been back, and kids come Tuesday, but I've been, online working with kids all summer with the honors summer reading I do for my class. So.
Gotcha. Well, you got the. I'll quickly say this to you, even though it's repeat for those of you who promised your podcast did not skip backwards. So I was saying to the audience that today we started with a scavenger hunt. We had a 3-hour scavenger hunt time break. We were given about 20 different places to visit in the community, take pictures at the credit union, go talk to a worker at one of the gas stations, go to a local business. So I'm sure some of them were like, what is going on here? But on there was taking a jump in a swimming pool. And our group was like, yeah, we're going to, and the address of our principal was there. So we immediately drove to his house and cannonballed in.
Nice.
So yeah, but unfortunately it was, I thanked him because it seemed like it was heated, so it was really nice. And although I didn't share this earlier, I didn't realize his pool was like a V pool where the deep end was in the middle. So I went to the end away from the stairs where growing up, that was the deep end. Yes. So I got a nice little run. I got a jump. I went in, nice splash, Fortunately, I did a little spread out to slow myself down because then I was like, poof. I was like, ooh, little back adjustment on the bottom, not too rough. But I was like, I don't think I'm in the deep end. So anyway, swam over. We got our picture because 2 other teachers jumped in and then hit in the different places. So, but yeah, definitely there's a park right off the rail trail for us. So hit this park. The lady just laughed. She goes, yep, you're the 4th team. The funniest one was we texted our assistant superintendent because to get a picture with the assistant and the superintendent, you got points. So we encouraged them to leave their faculty meeting that they were a part of at our middle school to come out front to get a picture with us. And the best part was, since we did the swimming off the beginning, I kept the towel on the whole time. So I had the towel skirt now. So I just rocked it. So he just looked at me and he's just like, oh, Verno. I said, hey man, I took a cannonball for the team. So, but yeah, so that's how everything kicked off. But hopefully if you're in and things are going, hopefully you're enjoying and not having too much monotonous of the staff meetings and everything, right? Yeah. But I already introduced the show. We're doing the KTI Star edition. I was working on trying to get some AI music generated, but don't have it yet. But we should have it by the end. But I think if you're ready with the questions, because you are the master interviewer, and I'll be taking the helm of the comments for you. But I think it's time to call on. Oh, there we go. Oh, Meg. Oh, York High has the kids already. But we're ready to call on our esteemed guests to help bring up the IQ of the show. What do you think?
Sounds good. I got the glasses. We're good to go.
Glasses. We are set. Mine are a little crooked today. We'll talk about next week. I'll probably have my readers. That's a funny story for that.
That's from that. The crooked glasses are from you hitting the bottom of the pool, threw your body off kilter. And that's working comp.
Now, the only thing I had was my badge. I didn't have. Unfortunately, we're doing these new life alert badge things. Unfortunately, I didn't have that on my person. Otherwise, that would have fried nicely. Anyway, all right, here we go. Let's kick it off for our guests. All right, we've got a full house shuffle. I'm just double checking to make sure we left nobody in the green room. Hello. All right, so let's start off. We're going to go on my screen. So, Penny, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi. Sure. I'm first. I'm Penny.
Let's go with where you teach, what you teach, and we'll just start with that for right now. We'll keep it easy, then I'll hand it over to Dom. Go ahead.
I teach at Springfield Township School District, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, and I am a Spanish teacher.
Nice.
All right. And was this your first time being nominated, first time coming to Summit, or were you nominated prior?
Nope, first time.
All right, awesome. Because I know some people, their nominations, they maybe even 2 years ago, and this is the year they decided to come. So,
Yep.
All right. Okay, Rachel, you heard it. Okay, so she started, so you're not allowed to make any mistakes now. We already had the first one through.
Got it. Okay, so my name is Rachel Macareth. I currently teach at Bristol Township School District, which is in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. The current position I have is kindergarten teacher, but I interviewed today for a new position, so fingers crossed, guys. My new position would be school climate / anti-bully specialist / dean. So please, send me some good vibes.
All right, we'll do. She's the slash. Okay. All right, so we've got Stephanie next.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Clenese. I teach English at Happer Horsham High School in Montgomery County as well, but it backs right up to Bucks County. I always say English, but realistically, it's 9th grade English. That's all I've been for the past, 6 years. So 9th grade ELA, living it and loving it.
All right, next on the deck here on the list, we got Jamie.
All right. Hi, I'm Jamie Emmel. I teach at Meadville Area Senior High School in Crawford Central School District, and I am the chemistry teacher at the high school.
Awesome. All right, Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy Umbenhauer. I teach starting this year 8th grade science at Lebanon Junior High School in Lebanon County, PA.
All right, and last but not least, Julie.
Hi, I'm Julia Miles. I'm a 6th grade ELA and social studies teacher at West Shore School District in Lewisberry, Pennsylvania.
All right, awesome. And hey, we've got our music. I want to make sure you guys feel special. So here we go, a little AI music. Starburst Summer, talking about the KTI Stars. Here we go. Let's rate how Suno AI does.
Burnt orange and gold, stories untold now unfold. Teachers rising like the sun, KTI Summit where it all begun. Starburst summer light up the sky, we found the spark we can't let die. Sharing flames, passing torches on, KTI Summit we belong. Waiting with shadows deep, dreams we sow now start to reap. Ideas crashing like waves on shore, we built bridges, moved for. They said stand up, shout it loud, we're the ones to lift the crowd. Starburst summer light up the sky.
Very interesting. All right, not too bad. I like it. There's some good
power
words
pop
there that kind of go with what the pre-show of everybody talking about the excitement, not being able to kind of keep quiet about the experience, relating it to other things. So, it kind of jives with it. So, all right. So, but we're not going to shout loud, but we're going to talk a lot. All right, Dom, let's kick us off with some good questions here. Let's go.
Okay, we're going to go reverse order. Since we started with Penny and ended with Julie, we're going to go with Julie. We're going to start you off. 2 questions. First off, did you know about PAECT before Summit? And second, how did you hear about the Summit?
Well, I had heard about it before, kind of just through the grapevine of just all the teacher inductions and different things that I've done. I long-term subbed for 5.5 years before I got my current position. And so I've heard about it, but I never actually gotten to know exactly what it was. And my principal's nomination for the KTI Summit was actually the first time that I actually really got to understand exactly what PAECT was.
Cool. Well, we're glad to have you on board. And then we will go on to Jeremy. Same 2 questions.
So I did know a little bit about PAECT from attending Pete and C, seeing the booth there, getting info each of the times. Knew a little bit about the summit from some of the other tech liaisons last year. And I kind of had to reach out to my principal at the time. Was told to ask to get nominated so you can attend Summit. Heard nothing but great things about Summit. So I was excited to get nominated and be able to apply and then get accepted, which was great.
Good. We'll move on to Jamie.
So I was completely clueless about PEACT and PEACT, PEACT, and KTI all in general. Most of my teaching experience was out of state in Virginia. So coming back to Pennsylvania, just kind of getting rerouted into that. So the first time I ever heard about any of it was when I got my nomination from my principal last year in November, and was kind of like, what is this? And then she texted me 3 days later to tell me what she did.
That's it. That's a good mix, and we'll continue with Stephanie in a second. If some of you have been, knew about it, some of you didn't know about it. I didn't know anything about it, but I had to reach out because my building principal at the time didn't know anything about it. So that's what we're working on getting the word out and getting people to know more about it. Stephanie,
the same questions.
Yes.
So I knew a little bit about it 2 years ago. My department chair invited me to go to PEACT. She was like, "Oh, have you ever been to a teacher conference, anything like that?" I said, "No, but I've never had that opportunity before in my career." So she brought me, and I was like, "This is the coolest thing I've ever done in my life." So I immediately went, back. And then this past year for PEACT 2025, I had submitted a request for proposal, and actually I was able to present on how to integrate tech into ELA a little bit more. And that's where I met Julie. So it was really wonderful. And it was at that experience, that second time going with my department chair again, running around and just talking to everybody there and being diving in of hi, I want to know everyone who's here. I love the energy of people who want to be around and building education up and building other educators up and sharing all of that. So I ended up meeting somebody who had gone to KTI the year before. And he was like, "Listen, I cannot recommend this enough." He's like, I had just met you guys all know Tom, but I had just met him and we became fast friends. And he was like, "This is the type of place where you're going to love it." So I was super nervous. I was supposed to have a friend from my district come, and I was going by myself, and I was like, "It's teacher summer camp. What am I doing?" But it was because I always call it PEACT. I told Christina, my department chair, I was like, "Oh, it's time for our annual slumber party." And so I told her it'd be our annual teacher summer camp. And so very long answer short, I guess. I learned about it 2 years ago and could not get involved fast enough. I was so excited about everything that you guys have brought to the table for so many teachers.
Good. And whenever they were telling us, they didn't spill too many secrets, did they? Whenever Tom was telling you about
nothing.
things?
He was no, and I was kind of like, "You didn't tell me any of this." And so he would text me the second day. He's like, "How are you doing?" I was like, "Great." Yeah, nobody spilled anything, which was an amazing experience. So I would not share it with people because of what that was of everything feeling new and oh, what are they doing? What's on that screen? What is that person doing? So.
That is part of the mystique, and part of the fun is keeping things active like that.
It was really special, and I would never want to take that away from somebody else getting that experience.
Oh, Eric just shuffled the screen. Now I lost where I was.
Rachel.
It's my turn.
There you go. Back in the right order.
Did you know about PAECT before Summit, and how did you hear about Summit?
No, I did not know anything about KTI or PACT or anything like that. But my principal who nominated me is a previous star. So she's an alumni. She was in your 2018 group, Darn Martese. So she recommended it to me, and she spoke to me about, she didn't give me any of the secrets. She didn't tell me anything that would happen, but she just said, "This is an amazing opportunity. You're going to love it. You're going."
Nice. Well, the people that nominated you that were in have talked to you that were already stars, they get secret bonus points. So, and that, I think actually that puts them ahead of Brendan Powell on goose chases. So they've actually bumped ahead of him for them not telling anything.
So yeah, I didn't know anything about it, but now I'm hooked, and I'm ready to go to. And everyone kept saying PNC, and I'm like, is this like a coordinator? What is this? So now I'm gonna try to convince my principal to let me go to PNC now, because now I'm ready to just dive all the way in and just see all that I can see.
Cool. Penny, you are up.
I was a little familiar with PAECT. I went to Pete NC for the first time in 2024. I only was able to go for a day because I was working on my district's AI committee to help form policies and stuff. And I left there and went, oh God, I got to go back for longer next year. So this past February, I went back for 2 days. And when I left and said, oh God, I got to go back for longer next year. And I need to be a presenter here because it was, as everyone has said, it's amazing. So I'm almost done my proposal, but I'm planning to go for the entirety if I can, if my district will let me go for that long. So I was a little familiar with it from going to that. And as far as Summit, one of my friends at school, she's an English teacher. She went the year before last, and she came back and said, you have to go to this. And I was doing a school trip last summer, so I couldn't. And so she's like, you're going next summer. So she went right to the principal and her director of tech and said, Penny's the next to go. So I got to think of who I've got to be the next to go, and I can get my extra bonus points for keeping things secret.
Who was the one that told you had to go?
Kara Travis.
You know what? Let me do a quick. She jumps ahead of Brendan Powell on the goose chase too. And for those of you who are uncertain, Brendan has been like key in goose. He's very competitive in goose chases, but he's been sliding down the leaderboard.
Just a little
bit. Yeah, he's sliding down the leaderboard as we go with all these people.
So let me jump in here, Dom. Penny kind of talked about it. Rachel kind of referenced it. So Pete and C, just so everybody knows, the opportunity to put in for a proposal called RFP, that's open till August 30th. So there still is time for you to put in to present. Here's the crazy thing. Nobody thinks what they do is amazing. And we've had a great conversation with Coy Bowles talking about, teachers sharing their stories. And one of the things that we never think what we do is amazing, but the reality is that, you guys do some stuff that nobody else is thinking of. So don't hesitate, put in those proposals and you see how the cards fall. Like that gets you into the conference for free, room and board, all that jazz you got to figure out. And then but it lessens the bill for the district. You can partner up with some of your people, room up, kind of a deal. A lot of great opportunities there, but that's Pete and C. That's coming here shortly. And then, so that's awesome to hear. All right.
And we keep dancing with the comments.
Comments, buddy. All right. So you're on to the next question. Here we go.
Well, also to go along with that, if you're not certain, if you're not confident in presenting, in front of a group, there's the poster sessions. If you need a way to get in, put in to be a volunteer. That covers your room and board.
Yep.
If you're presenting, that also gets you there, so you can get the best of both worlds. That's work true. The conference, but they will work with your schedule. We had people on last show, George Fisher. He volunteers, and they'll work with you to get so you can go to sessions, you get to present, and then you work other sessions, so you're watching them while you're working, and that covers your expenses. But there's also, to piggyback on it before we get back into the questions, we have the Higher Ed Symposium going on. It'll be at St. Vincent College, which is in Southwest, but it's easy to get to from South Central, from Northwest, even from North Central. People have shown up there for events. You have a lot of ed camps going on in the area. We have Tretzy in the Southwest. There's all kinds of things going on. You can present locally, build your way up. So even if you're not 100% certain, put in for several different places. Talk to the, your regional directors, talk to the PD committee, You can present virtually online, get your feet under you. You guys have great ideas. That's why you made it to the summit. That's why you were nominated to be a star. Share your stories.
It wouldn't be a KTI edition without Adobe included. All right, okay, so we got to mention
yes.
it.
But as Missy said, there's always someone who wants to hear about what you do, and as she said, there was a young girl from Pennsylvania who was afraid to have her voice heard, and now she's a megastar, and if she can do it, you guys can do it.
All right. Shots fired.
What?
Nothing. I thought I was muted. All right, continue, Dom.
Okay.
Missy will pipe up soon. Don't worry.
Going back. So some of you have heard a little bit about Summit, but nobody was really told much about it, which is good. But what were your expectations going in the Summit? And then how did the Summit measure up to your expectations? And you may not have had too much because you may have been flying blind, and that's okay. We're just kind of giving people an idea because hopefully there's future stars or people that were nominated that couldn't go. They'll watch this and have a little better feel. And we'll start with Penny. We'll go back through reverse order.
I didn't have a lot of expectations because I didn't have any idea what to expect. So it was literally like, I'm going to go and get some ideas. I knew that I was going to learn a bunch of stuff, some new things. And I was like, cool, I want to learn new things. I always want to learn new things. And it far exceeded my expectations. My head is still spinning. It's almost a month in a good way, not in a bad way. And I started putting down on paper, like, because you get to a point where like, I want to do all these things and I don't know what to do first. So I just started putting things on paper, say, this is where you're going to start, and just put everything else on the side so you can do something you wanted to do.
Yeah, and that's Karen Steigerwalt, the nerd, the Northeast regional director. She's always said, in some of her presentations, I've seen her at KTI. I was a regional director. I worked with her. She's on the board. I've seen her at Pete and C. And that's the one thing she says with her, the Girls Gone Google presentation. Set a date, send an email to yourself several weeks, several months down the road, have a chance to decompress and revisit your notes, revisit your ideas, have some time to, work through the system, just relax and go back through and revisit your notes. And like, what can you do in the classroom? Have you tried anything? And that's a great idea. And that, that's the one nice thing about these, going to these different conferences, be it the Summit, be it Pete and C, or the regional conferences or online, that camaraderie and getting advice from other people. We always say, Eric always says, smartest person in the room is the room. And getting these ideas and building on them, building that network. And it's also a nice recharge, because let's face it, we get worn down throughout the year, even if you don't have bad situations. It's rigorous running through things and trying to keep everyone motivated. And these are great ways to recharge. Mm-hmm. Julie, we're going to move on to you. Were there any expectations heading into Summit, and how did Summit measure up to any of those expectations you may have had? And if you didn't have the expectations, you could roll on from there. Like, coming out of it, what was your takeaway?
I was very similar to Penny, like not a whole lot of expectation. I knew that a lot of stuff with technology and education integrating, but holy cow, blew my mind. It was absolutely exceeded expectations. I think kind of just taking the time after the couple weeks of after going into in-service. Now my district just started in-service this week, and just like the confidence that was built from Summit. Like, I'm presenting tomorrow with my building, doing like a station rotation deal. And if you would have asked me 6 years ago when I started in my district, oh, like, are you going to present in front of your building? I would be like, oh, crazy. You're nuts. There's no way I do that. But now, like, after going to Summit and like having built up that confidence, like now I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely. I'll totally talk in front of a bunch of adults instead of 12-year-olds.
That is, and that is something, presenting, like, working in front of kids is one thing you get used to, but then when you have to present in front of your peers, and that was one of the things as Eric referenced, with Coy Bowles, Kevin Honeycutt, when he was on, we have a tendency not to want to promote what we do. And I always put the spin, and other people have put this on. Talk about your students. If you don't want to say what you're doing because you don't want to seem like you're braggadocious, I guess would be the term. I think that's the proper term. The English language arts people can correct me if I'm wrong, but talk about what the students are doing, and that's basically what's going on in your classroom, so you can frame it from that standpoint. Rachel, you are up.
So yes, I'm going to echo little expectations. I honestly just thought it was going to be, other conferences that I've been to were, a lot of information, very serious, things like that. I didn't expect to have so much fun. I honestly didn't expect to have so much fun. And, a certain song will always bring up memories for me, and just meeting people, just meeting people and just being, I don't know. I make friends fast, but like this was immediate, immediately fast, and just having so many inside jokes now from a teaching conference. I learned so much, but I also had a ball, and I felt so appreciated and special. And there were so many little things that the team put together for us to just really make us feel like, wow. It's very hard for teachers to get appreciated. And, there's always a meme that I always see, and it's like a long line of people for complaints. And then there's a short line for compliments, right? If you ever seen that meme, and KTI is the complete opposite. Coming home and, nobody was cheering me on when I came to my house. but yeah. So I learned so much, but I also had a ton of fun.
That's good. And that's the one thing, it's showing behind the curtain, but it's not giving away anything bad, is that, the building of, the group, the camaraderie, almost family. And that's the one thing that, as a whole, PAECT tries to do is, you see us, and sometimes people are like, oh, that's, the camaraderie, the closeness of the group, talking with each other. Sometimes we only see each other a few times a year, sometimes once a year, either at Pete and C or at Summit. But it's like, hey, how's it going? And you catch up, and it's like, you just saw somebody the day before, even though it's been a year. And we try and foster that because that helps build and maintain us.
I like Kevin's line there, right? You all are rock stars, but teachers, we all need to celebrate each other more.
Yeah,
I think that's a really good one, Kevin. I think that's something we need to take into, not just the excitement, but even just cheering on, and grabbing some garbage cans and making music and having fun, right? Just do what you got to do.
Yeah, we're not going to get into the song because I'll get in trouble. But Missy was singing along to that song. I saw a video of it.
Yep. There's video.
I wasn't trying to give too much away, but just a little taste. Just a little taste.
Yep.
Okay, we keep shifting. I think it's.
Sorry, Deisler. I apologize for using the first name there.
I think Stephanie is up.
Yep.
So we're talking about our expectations going into it and how we felt. I feel like it had been hyped up a lot for me, but to really echo what they're saying, from the people I talked to and seeing everybody at Pete and C 2 years in a row, I was like, these people all love each other. And I was like, from a teacher, what? And I was like, oh, I've met people here I've become friends with. I could see it being really fun. And I kind of went in. I feel like it had been built up to be amazing, but there was just no way that a person could have explained what it would feel like. I truly and it's not like you said, it's these connections that we made that I was like, I can't wait to celebrate each other, which I'm so glad that was just brought up in the comments. I feel like we all want to run and talk about things that are tough in the job, and we forget that we can talk about the things that we love and the things that are successful and how we can support each other. And having that for so many days in a row it just filled me. they always talk about like filling up your cup. I was like, I didn't even know this one was running on empty. Like I just didn't even realize what I didn't have until I experienced it. So there's just no way it could have leveled off with expectations. Like there is no such thing as meeting or it was so far beyond it and just so out of, I just had no idea, I guess. And I'm so happy that I took that chance and like really went for it because I love meeting people. Like Rachel said, I want to be everybody's best friend immediately. I'm like, hi, it's not up to you. I've decided we're friends now. Case in point, like many people on the screen. I'm like, hi, guess what? We're friends now. So that part, I didn't know that there would be so many people out there who were like that too. Like, and finding them and in that way. So it was just exceeded expectations, but you couldn't ever level up to what you would expect here. I guess is the way to put it. Like there's no way to outline of like, oh, here's what you can expect. No, like it's just so unique.
Yeah. And that's the nice thing about it. And the one thing, the regional directors work hard, the board works hard, and other members, the regional boards and people involved in the other committees, we work hard to try and keep that going throughout the year. And that's why we try and have, like, we have, virtual events, we have in-person events, and we can't see each other all the time because just time itself, life gets in the way of life, I always say. But we have these virtual events and things and try and keep that going, keep that network going to support each other throughout the year. So even if we're not around each other, there's some type of connection. And if you have an issue, the saying, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Have that support network. Or even if it's like, hey, I did this was a really good idea, give a shout out. This worked really well, as opposed to just reaching out and saying, hey, this isn't working well. What do I need? So, and that's what we try and do through PAECT. The former stars, future stars, people involved. We try and keep everyone, the lead learners, try and keep everyone connected and building on that feeling. Jamie, you are up with expectations, and how did things measure up if you had any expectations?
So I didn't really have any expectations. There was a very small part of me that was afraid I was going to be really bored because I didn't know what I was getting into. It's not something that in my district is ever talked about. Like, I found out when I came back that there's been like 4 of us from my district that have gone. And I'm like, okay, but nobody's talked about it. We've not done anything with it. So I was just afraid like that I was going to be bored and I wasn't going to learn anything new. And to say that those were understatements is probably not good enough, like not a strong enough term. I mean, I've already taken quite a bit of what I've learned and started putting it into play in my classroom. So like I haven't just sat down and done the debrief with my stuff yet, but like I've picked up on the little bits and pieces of things that I wanted to try anyway. And it's been nice keeping those connections like you were talking about with the virtual events and stuff, because I'm part of the book club and getting on every week and talking to all those people. And it's like just fueling each other's fires. So that adds to those expectations that have just been blown out of the water.
Well, and that's, I'm glad you brought up the book club. That's going on. And that's the one they sing with the events. You could sit in the back and lurk. You can sit and Eric's mentioned this before. You could just, sit and discuss, but some people are auditory learners. Some people aren't readers. Some people are visual. And you could participate even if you don't have the book. If you just want to carry on with the discussion, they're recording the book. I don't know if we're going to post those videos online, but I know there's a Google Doc. I have a Wakelet going. I'm building in the background. I'm going to push out one of these meetings of resources and links. But people are collaborating. I think there's 40-some people signed up, and they've been averaging over 20 people a meeting, and various levels of participation. Some people sit and take things in. Some people contribute. Some people type into the Google Doc in the background and share resources that way. But it's a great resource. And you're hearing all these different ideas and how people are using different things in the classroom, or things they've tried or things they would like to do. And it goes across grade levels. So these are different ways to participate and keep that going. So we're going to move on to Jeremy with the same 2 questions. Did you have any expectations, and how did the summit meet those expectations?
So I was pretty much told it's going to be a life-changing experience, as all the former or the other stars had said. So not exactly sure what that's going to mean from each different person. So I'd say, yes, it is definitely a life-changing experience. And if you get that scale of meets expectations or exceeds, it's like a couple steps beyond exceeds expectations. I mean, overall, just an amazing experience and really what I needed after a rough school year last year. So it was great meeting everybody there and kind of just joining into that KTI family.
That's good. And that's, a great word to use is family. And we try and keep it like that. As I said before, it's just something that the organization as a whole, tries to facilitate or tries to, keep moving forward. And we had Trisha on and George on last show. They were both first time lead learners. And when I was at ISTE, I ran into Trisha. She was down in San Antonio. And we were talking, and she's like, some of the people that were there last year weren't there. And it's, the lead learners everyone puts in, we talked with Scott Snyder about this before, puts into be a lead learner, and more people put in than there are spots available. So there's a flux. It changes from year to year, but it's those people are always involved and always connected. And there's a rotation. We like to promote new people, get new voices into the room, because that makes the organization stronger. That makes us better teachers, because the more varied opinions you hear, you're not in an echo chamber. You're not hearing the same thing over and over. You're hearing from different people, and that's always a plus. It makes you stronger. Whatever you're doing in life, having more information that, and different opinions makes you stronger. So that's a good thing. And glad it was, sorry you had a bad year last year, or year that pushed you, but it's good that this was able to help you rebound a bit. So I'm going to start with you. We're going to go back around the horn. One of my favorite shows, sports show. We'll get back into sports here later, but I'm going to wrap up because it seems like we have a bunch of questions about different things, but it seems like everybody took something away. It seemed like this is going to help all of you out. So I'm going to kind of combine like 3 questions into one. Biggest takeaway that you think you can use either in your district, in your classroom, or just as an educator, kind of ballpark it in a big picture. What's your biggest takeaway that you got from the summit? We'll start with Jeremy.
So for me, I think it was the Spark project that we were introduced to right away Monday evening, and kind of thinking through those. But like the second day, that after one of the sessions on Lego, that really kind of took me the direction that I wanted to go with that Spark project. So again, it's kind of forcing me to stick to something, and I'm hoping, and actually just found out today, after sitting through some in-services, had a chance to talk to department chair, who then went to the building principal, said I should be good to order a classroom set of their new Lego science curriculum. So I'm super excited. That was one of those things that I was not sure was going to work. So hopefully able to get that ordering, get that and start exploring that, because that was, again, kind of leading into something that I wanted to try and be able to present at either P&C or one of the local conferences. But kind of that project, again, as we kind of got into that one, my fire was pretty much almost out. And KTI definitely got it burning again, and kind of just taking that and running with it. So let's say just being able to plan that and have a huge support system of the rest of the stars was great.
That's great. Congratulations on getting that up and running and getting the permission to move with that. That'd be cool to hear how that keep up with how that's going. You can come back on the podcast at a later date and let us know how that project goes.
Yeah.
Jamie, what is your biggest takeaway? That you think, and how can it help you in big picture or small picture?
So mine, even from like in talking to people right after KTI, it's the start small, but always start. Like, we as educators get all these ideas thrown at us because AI has changed. And so there's this way and this way and this way that you can use it, but we never know where to start because we're just bombarded with all this information. So we have to start with something. And so this year, with my Spark project, like Jeremy was talking about his, my ultimate goal is a flipped classroom, but like I'm going down the gamification route as well with it. And so I'm starting small. Like, I started with the feel when you come into my classroom, or the feel when you log on to my Canvas class, so that then next year, when that's all built and ready to go, I can start adding all of these extra little things. Every year you can add another spark to that, or not another spark, but another stick to the fire, to allow that spark to start burning brighter and brighter and brighter, as long as you remember to start. Don't just sit there and let it burn uncontrollably.
Oh, you're mixing all kinds of resources, and that's a little bit of the book club. That's KTI. I like it. That's important. You have to, you have to start. If you don't start, then you're not going to go anywhere. So that is a key takeaway. But that is where, a lot of people are. We're going to go to Stephanie. What's your key takeaway? And is it, big picture, small picture?
I mean, so many pictures. A whole photo album. I mean, right out of the gate, I immediately think to like, I love this idea of what's going to keep me going. Like, what's something I can do in my classroom that's going to be there for me and the students, like serving the students, but also I can enjoy the ride too. But since we kind of talked about that, I want to take it maybe bigger picture. And specifically, I'm teaching 9th grade ELA, and I'm looking at some of these things that I was watching upper elementary with like gamification and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, how can I do this? Like, it doesn't lend itself. And the biggest takeaway that I would say then, picture, is that don't limit yourself. Like, don't limit it, because I think that gamification looked like fun, but I probably can't do it because I'm teaching 9th grade ELA. Like, how can we do this with Animal Farm? Melissa will tell you, we can do it with Animal Farm. And I just realized, like, take the blinders off. Like, you can't limit yourself based on what you think you can do in the classroom. If you want to do it, there is a way and a support system now that I have that's like, hey, how is it going? Where have you gotten with it? What's next for you? And just people to bounce ideas off of, and teaching me how to use the tools so that, maybe it won't look like a 4th grade math class, but I can still have the fun that everyone's having. So it's not about just like the game of it. You can apply it to anything. If you were thinking you wanted to do something, but you're not sure if it has a home in your classroom, talk to the people who know about it. They're going to help you find that space. And that's my big takeaway, is that I thought that I was being like, oh, I can't do that. That's crazy. Sure, I can.
Yeah, and that's, kind of piggybacks off what Jamie said. Start and then take it. And you can, like you said, you can adapt it. Doesn't matter what grade level it is. If it's a cool idea, there's ways to make it fit. And that's thinking outside the box and running with it. But you have to start and go from there. I'm trying to get my backup light to work, and it's not working. My room's getting a little dark in here. The sound cave, the podcasting suite is, I don't know what happened. But we're going to move on to Rachel as I fumble with my lights. Your biggest takeaway and
sorry.
No, that's okay.
Oh, sorry. So For me, as a kindergarten teacher, I always AI is not in the K classroom. We're trying to get them to hold a pencil. We're trying to get them to do, they barely can do their testing on their Chromebooks. So for me, I was like, I don't know how AI is going to really help me, or what is it going to do for me. And then to bounce off my fellow stars, it honed in when I found my Spark project, and I realized how I can utilize AI to benefit my students. So not them using it, but me using AI to benefit my students. So I really took away from, universal design, and I'm going to take our PBIS program, and we have a big matrix, and I'm going to make that matrix into images for non-speaking students, for non-reading students, and for our ELL students. So, so I'm going to take things that have so many words on it and can be overwhelming for some people and students, and really turn it into images, and using AI to find the best resource for that, the most universal image that is, clear to everyone, So I again, it's not necessarily my students using it or anything like that, but it's benefiting all of the students in the school.
And that's a great idea. And it also makes your life easier, a little bit of work up front, but in the back end, it's not only helping you, but helping other people. And that's a lot of people I talk to. That's how they start out with AI, is using it as a grad assistant. Go in, use it as a resource, and build from there. And that's something that, going back to the book study that we're doing, more work up front makes life easier in the long run, because you're better prepared and you're not struggling. You're not hitting roadblocks and dealing with kids who are just burned out and miserable, but you get that little bit of extra prep in, and using AI as a team member to help you get there.
Yeah, I never really thought of it as like a team member before, because I'm so, with students, they're so keen on technology. We are trying to get them, in kindergarten, not to shy away from it, but to also use other tools to learn versus, the computer, because they're so proficient already with it. But they need help with their fine motor and their reading and things like that. So I never thought to use AI as an assistant, and it really does help me.
Yeah. And that's the thing, because that's, former teaching economics previously, time is the ultimate scarcity. It's the same for everybody. Mm-hmm. So if you can have someone or something step in to help you with some of the, the more tedious part of the process, gives you more time to be creative and gives you more time to think and adapt and come up with ideas to work with the kids, get you more time with the kids while you have someone or something doing that. I don't want to call it the grunt work, but it's the work that, it's taking what you have and putting it into practice and doing the typing, finding the images, as you said, things of that nature. So, that helps you out and gives you more time to work with the kids. That's a great idea. Julie,
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Julie, we're going to move on to you. What's your biggest takeaway? Big picture, small picture?
I think possibilities are endless. We opened up 2 brand new schools last year. I started working with totally new people, new principals, new reading program, which was really daunting. I was so overwhelmed last year of just this huge program that I wasn't sure of how to fit it all in. So to utilize and learn about some different tools to help make that program feel not as daunting, and then to also help my colleagues not feel as overwhelmed by it, was such a relief from throughout the week of just working on ways of we could utilize this tool to be able to go through our weekly editable plans and see, do we really have to do this whole story within one day that's 30 pages long that 11-year-olds cannot sit through just by themselves? Like using Notebook LM to create a podcast was so cool. My kids were amazed by that. And I had learned about it at Pete and C a little bit and tried it and showed it to them, and to be able to like learn about other things I can do with it was so cool. But also just like that it's okay to like be that passionate person and share your passion with the kids. I was very much like Jeremy. I had a really rough year with students, and KTI really just relit the spark that like made me want to come back to teaching for the school year. So that was finding the passion again was a big one for me.
That's great. And that's, the one thing to understand, and I apologize, I can't remember exactly who said that. A lot of times people get together and they talk about what was, rough, but now we get together and celebrate. But there's nothing wrong with getting that recharge. Even if you're having a good year, there's times where you just get worn down, you get tired, because it's not just teaching, and it's with, gotta put this, it's other careers too, not just educators, but you have your career, and then you have your life, and you have other things going on in it. But then we also have the kids, and they're coming to us with issues. So everything just kind of builds up, and it's like, okay, you get to run into people, get recharged, share ideas, see that you're not the only person in that same situation. Whether it makes you feel better or not, I don't know. Some people say it doesn't, but it is good to, I'm going to put this without sounding crass or whatever, but sometimes it's good to hear like, okay, I'm not the only one having this issue. It's not just me. There's other people, and you can kind of hopefully brainstorm ways to turn it around or fix it. But at least it's like, okay, it's not just me. It's, something going around. So that helps out. And it's good to do that every so often, is get that boost.
And what's really cool, Dom, I was going to throw in like, what's really neat is you think about just the KTI experience and what it is. And obviously, we believe in it. I say it's like a passion project for PAECT. Most of the boards sitting around the table have been a part of it in some way, shape, or form. But the interesting thing is it finds you, right? Whether it's through that principal, it's through that colleague, that nudge, whatever it is. And it finds the right people every year. And it's always such a unique mix. It's a unique mix from all the lead learners. It's a unique mix from all the stars. And just your stories you're sharing, like, I'm just blown away again. I mean, I was there. I got to watch from the side the moments where I was supposed to be quiet, doing the best I could to be quiet, and like just seeing how you all kind of grew closer together and just grew, And like one of the lines I said many years ago to somebody who made a comment, like with Julie, like the spark wasn't out. We didn't relight the spark. You always had the spark. We just fanned it, torched it up, right? And you went with it. Like that was the fortunate thing. KTI found you before the spark was out, right? And so that's what it is, and that's what it does. And it's done it for all of us, at different points of our career. It continues to do stuff for us. That's why we're all still here doing it and working with the organization, the Pete and C coming together. It's just family reunion. I mean, I sit at the board table and I look around. I'm like, it's like a family reunion. Of course, we're going to sit through 2 days of board meetings and dealing with all the stuff behind the scenes, but yet it's all with those people around, right? You get out of it what you put into it. It's awesome. So it's truly, I just want to say, it's hearing all your stories. Thank you all so much. Just amazing. Not to cut you off with your interviewing there, Dom, but I just got to say that it's so cool hearing the stories. It really is. Yeah.
And that's, we're all volunteers. So, nobody gets paid for what they're doing. And having, people come in and work with other teachers and hearing your stories and your takeaways from this, it shows that, we're doing something right, and it makes it worthwhile for more people. That's why, we always have KTI Stars putting to be lead learners. They want to give back, and they see the value in it, and they see how it helps. And that builds, as Eric said, it fans those, rekindles those fires, fans those sparks.
I think Missy got a great comment, right? It starts off with we. When you arrive, it's about we doing, but then there's a point where the switch flips, and now it's you, right? And then you inspire, you will lead. And that's really, it's handing off the baton, and that's what makes it a healthy scenario. And Scott has said multiple times to different people, and he said it to your group, like, we're expecting you all to come for our jobs, right? The next group's got to step up, okay? Eventually, Jeremy's he's gonna have the bigger beard, and he's just gonna be stepping in. Like that's the way it's gonna happen. So, but it's awesome. Like keep that going. Like don't ever stop that. And just you sharing with your colleagues and doing what you're doing and leading from the middle and everything. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's that growth. We don't stay static. We keep moving forward and just building upon what we have. So I believe
I was gonna jump in real quick since talking about the beard thing with Jeremy. I gotta show this. Like you got in here late, Dom. So I don't know if you saw it in the green room sitting there, but he was just the master. I don't even know if he was using Photoshop, like what all he was using, but like he was the master of the tools. So everybody's laughing because they all got a preview. So everybody watching is like, what are they giggling at? What are they doing? Right. So here is his latest creation, Dom. So let's see what you look like with it. Beard, Dom.
One last challenge that I had.
Nice. I need that
help from AI and just kind of mess around in preview and Canva.
We're gonna have to send that to your wife, Dom, see if she approves.
Oh yeah.
Probably not. All right, continue, Dom.
Okay, we're up to Penny, I believe.
Yes, I'm gonna go more. I guess it could be good advice for other people, but for me, one of the biggest takeaways, I'm definitely what Stephanie said about gamification. I thought, how am I going to use that in a Spanish class for high school students, no less? But I know they love playing games. So, but I want to point out more, the time is the ultimate scarcity. Is that what you said, Dom?
Yes.
I think at one point in my career, maybe before my teaching career, people weren't willing to share resources, things they created, and everyone was like, well, the attitude like I did it, you should do it. And I guess I got afraid to ask for help along those lines. Like I'm not afraid to ask questions. I'm not afraid of anything. But I feel like everyone was so quick to say, here, let me just share this with you. And it was literally an entire folder of everything I would need. I mean, I need to change some of it to work with my classroom, but like I've always been a person to share everything I have with all my friends, all my teacher friends. Like, here's these things I made. Do what you want to do with them, but you don't need to recreate the wheel. No one has time for that. And I've been teaching for a long time, so I have a lot of like stacks of resources to share. And not to date myself or anything, but I was so amazed with how quick people were to sit down and go, here, let me get your computer for a second. Let me put in the search parameter. This is what you need to do. No, put in this next time. And just say, here, I'm sharing these bunch of folders with you. This is what you need. You don't need to recreate all this. Now you just need to go through and change what works for your class, wording, language, etc. And I think it was a really, really good reminder to ask people, do you know? Can you help me? And if you don't know, do you know someone who can help me?
Yeah.
So I know the people in my school, like I am, again, not afraid to ask questions, but like a really good reminder, like I'm always afraid sometimes to be like, can you share that with me? Because I'm afraid they're going to go no, but they don't, especially everyone. Like I know right now, every single person I met over the summer, if I sent them an email or a text or whatever, and I said, hey, I remember you talking about why. Could you send me what you can on that? And they'd be like, sure, you'll see it tomorrow. I know without a doubt, even if it was somebody I didn't spend a lot of time with. So I guess that's my biggest takeaway.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It kind of goes back, there's a couple different takes on it because some people don't like to share because they don't like giving away their information. But then it goes back to some people are afraid to share because they don't think their work is, they're a little insecure. And there's the two types. And I see where you're coming from with that. And that is the thing. Always ask. Like there's one of my mentors in this area, Norton Gusky. He is a great resource, but he's the type of person, he won't give you the answer, but he will point you in the direction and help you build a network to find your answer. And, being that way, there's so many people willing to help. It's, it's fantastic. And that's the one thing is the sharing, and hopefully, and you guys seem to have that, you're willing to put yourselves out there and share. And hopefully we keep this, continuing down the road. Because that is, we've said this numerous times. That's what makes the organization stronger. That's what helps the kids the best, because we're in this for the kids. I mean, that's why you're a teacher. You're not going to get rich, doing it, and it can wear you down. But, hopefully we make a positive outcome for people. And the more voices, the more ideas, the more positive that outcome can be. So we have been pushing, although I got here to the dance late, so to speak. We're pushing a little bit over an hour. So we're going to kind of go to 3 questions left. 1 question we're going to do individually, and then we're going to put the 2 questions, the 2 mandatory questions, the big ones for all guests. Those will come together at the end. And then I have a special, because I got to point something out to Miss Melissa Alcott. She did a little comment earlier, which shows she's a super fan. Do you think, like, from you, everybody here says they got something positive for it, and you just explain how it benefited you as I stumble through my words. Do you think it would benefit your administration to be there? Was your administration, I know we have an administration day. Was your administration there, and do you think it would benefit for more administrators to see the summit? We'll start with Penny. Yes, sorry.
I was absolutely brought almost to tears that my administrator drove 2.5 hours to come for the day. He had texted me the night before, sent me an email the night before, and said, "Hey, I'm going to be there tomorrow. See you tomorrow morning." And I was like, oh my gosh, totally didn't expect that. So he did a lot of stuff with me specifically, just to spend time with me and see what I was learning. And we did a challenge together in one of the rooms. And it would definitely, I think, first of all, I have an amazing principal. So it just proved my point that he's so great to be there. But I think administrators would definitely benefit from it. I don't know what they did on their own time with other administrators, but I feel like he was interested and he was engaged, and we worked together on something. So that was really, really fun. So I think it would definitely be a benefit.
Well, that's great. Julie, you're next.
I think it totally would benefit. My admin did come. One of my amazing principals showed up. Was shocked. I didn't realize that they were coming. And we were just talking about different ways that we could utilize it within our building, within our sister building, because my district spans basically 2 high schools. So we're all split. But I think it would be great to have like our leaders go in and to help us share, because sometimes the admin have more time than some teachers do to share, and also just that they can reach more people. Sometimes, like I know, like my PDs usually all spent. I'm deep into the HMH reading books, whereas he can kind of bop around a little bit more to share. But I think it'd be great to have admin there for longer.
That's good. That's good that they were able to make it. I know, and some can't due to scheduling and stuff, and some don't go, but there's a lot that do go. And that's something we've been trying to build on and get more and more administrators to get to Summit. Rachel, you're up.
So yeah, absolutely. My administrator was not able to get there, but she's an alum. So she is 2018 with Deisler. So absolutely, I think that admin seeing it and seeing what it's all about would definitely benefit them, just like it benefited us as stars. Because at the end of the day, they're also teachers. They're also teaching. So I think that it's great that you have the admin day, and pulling admin in general is a good idea.
That's good. That's good. Thank you. Stephanie, you are up.
I'm going to echo everyone's sentiments. I am lucky to say that I have a really supportive administrative team from my building all the way to, central admin, whatever, upper admin, whatever everyone calls them in your respective districts. And having, they're the people who have to, my principal had to nominate me, and he was willing to do it at whatever time it was. We were like, hey, we want staff to be a part of this. And just being, all right, taking the chance, being excited. I told him I was going to go and present at Pete and C. He couldn't wait. He was like, that's amazing. good. Like there wasn't what would it cost and all this type of stuff. He's like, I'm so glad you're getting your ideas out there. So I think administration from my district to any level would be so happy to come and experience it and see what we're doing in our time over the summer and all the people who are there to support it and see how many people really do still love this job. Because I know I said it before, like this idea, like we do want to talk to each other about the bad stuff. And, you know, our bosses, like we got to go to them sometimes when things aren't going the way we want them to. And rather than going to them with issues, it's like, hey, come see this really cool thing I get to do. And you can be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, you know, and as Megan put in the comments, you don't really understand KTI till you experience KTI. And Missy, you know, posted, you know, she as a new administrator, well, she's been an administrator for a while, but former teacher moving into administration. She's, you know, not only the Melissa I was referring to using her formal name, because Melissa Krenzer is Krenzer. You know, Missy, great administrator, cares about the staff and the kids. And, you know, she knows about, and a lot of you have administrators that have been through the system. So the KTI Summit, so they understand it. But that's good to have, you know. And it's one of those things you don't know it until you've been there. We're going to move on with Jamie.
So my direct administrator that nominated me wasn't at KTI, but Ann Noonan is one of our central office personnel that was part of KTI. So it was nice having someone there that when I would come across an idea, I could go to her and be like, so is this something that's feasible in our district or not? And we could kind of talk about the alternatives. But I do think that it would be really nice to have more administrators going, whether as stars themselves or like trying to like force their hand into coming to the admin day, because sometimes they have the in with the people at central office that need to hear about all of these things that we're learning about and that we're doing. They don't necessarily want to hear it from the teachers, but they will listen to an administrator that comes forward and says, hey, my teachers are learning this. I want this brought into our district. What do we need to do to get it there?
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's true about any conference. I know going to regional conferences, going to Pete and C, ISTE, you have a lot of good ideas, and like you go into the vendor halls and there's a lot of tools that are excellent, and you know they'll hit you up with, hey, you know, can we email you? I'm like, I would love to use this. I'll pilot it for you, but I don't have the purse strings to fund this for my district. You know, so getting the administrators there is key to be able to implement a lot of these different things and get that thinking moving forward. We'll move on to Jeremy with the admin question.
So I did not have admin there, but as soon as I was back from KTI, I went straight. I helped with marching band, so I was right back into school for band camp, and the principal had come down to check on that. But I made sure to thank him for being able to send me to KTI, and said that if he nominates anyone else, that he definitely needs to go for the admin day to check it out. And I believe he was nominated before he went into admin, but I don't think he ever attended Summit. But yeah, I believe admin should check it out, because just as eye-opening and kind of uplifting as it was for all of us, I think that's something that they need as well. And they probably don't realize that as much as the rest of us kind of realize that at the time.
Yeah, and it's always good to be reminded about, you know, what it's like in the classroom. I've never been an administrator. I've always been in the classroom for over 30 years, you know, through subbing in my own classroom and bouncing around on a cart when I first started, title teacher, back to history. But, you know, it's something, always keep up with things as to what's going on and seeing what's going on in the classrooms. That's always key. And, you know, how we build off each other and learn from each other. It's good for them to get that same feel because, I guess it's the term is siloed off. A lot of times that happens, and it's not good to be that way. You got to see what's going on, even if it's not, you don't think it's your thing. I know a couple people talked about gamification, and it's hard to get your head wrapped around it. And as a former tech coach, I remember teachers didn't want to implement things until they had it mastered. And in today's day and age, you can't master something because by the time you master it, it's changed. And a lot of you brought that up. It's like things are changing so fast that, you get a grasp of it, implement it, baby steps, or as some of you said, just start out, get started. I think it was Jamie. Just take that first step, start and go from there and work with it, implement it in little steps and build upon it as things go. Because by next year, what you're using may not be, useful. It may have changed, or in case like some of us people that have been around for a long time, Eric, I could speak for him, myself, tools that years ago, as tech coaches and implementers way back in the early 2000s that, this tool kind of became obsolete, and someone's like, oh yeah, I'm using this. And you're like, I haven't used that since 2012. And they've revamped it and brought it back, rolled it back out again. And it's like, whoa, it's new and improved. And so it's always good to hear the different voices and revisit things. And same goes for administrators.
I think the other big thing with that too is most of the administrators are kind of stuck in collaborating with other administrators in their local areas. But with KTI stretching the entire state, being able to bounce ideas off of so many different people and seeing how things work across the state is helpful as well.
Yeah, that is true, Jeremy. Getting that big picture and hearing things, because we're a very diverse state and we're a very big state. 500 or 501 districts. There's a lot going on, and between IUs and the counties and things like that, not everyone always gets out and gets around to hear the different things, and it's very unique. Our district, we're in a small district, but we have, small town America, we have public housing, we have rural farms, and we have middle class suburbs, all in the same school district. And we're not that big, and there's other districts similar to that, and there's some districts that are very different. So it's good to get that variety of experiences and see what other people, good and bad, what they're experiencing. Very good point, as Ryan pointed out. Now, to the two most important questions. Jeremy, we're going to start off with you. The two most important questions of any interview on this podcast. And other podcasts have tried to use these questions, but that's the one thing that isn't Creative Commons, or these two questions. We're holding on to these.
Yep.
What is your educational superpower? That's the first part. Second part, if you could have any superpower in existence or hasn't even been made up yet, what would it be?
Educational superpower for me is that I think I like to help other people and be able to. A lot of times I end up finding myself helping other people find solutions to what they need to work on before I get to what I need to fix for myself. I enjoy that more. I'll put off my stuff to be able to help everybody else. So I'd say that's my educational superpower, kind of putting others above myself with different things there. As for the other superpower, we talked about time. I don't want to necessarily put things in slow motion, but I'd love to be able to kind of control time and slow down the passing of time, but not put us in slow motion. Or just kind of control it. Sometimes we want to definitely fast forward through some things, or just slow it down to kind of enjoy things. Like at Summit, I wish we could have slowed that down to kind of spend more time there, because again, it was great. And again, other times we definitely need to kind of fast forward through some things. Like probably most of us would like to do that during our current couple days of beginning of the school year PD.
Yeah. That's definitely a cool. That's one of the things that doesn't mess with my anxiety is the manipulation of time. Some of the other things scare me too much. Jamie, you're up.
So my educational superpower, I like to call it controlled chaos. You may walk past my room and think that everything's out of control. My students are doing things that are off the wall, but in all reality, I know what's happening. It just might look like chaos to anybody that walks by. And so to go along with that, I'd like to be able to either cast spells or have a time turner, so that I can be in multiple places at once, or like I can duplicate myself so that I can be watching everything that's going on in my controlled chaos, because then I have to come home and think about, well, were they actually doing what they were supposed to be doing, or was it just chaos for the day?
There's a theme. I'm not very familiar with the theme, but I think there's a theme between your superpower there.
Just a little.
Stephanie, what is your educational superpower? And if you could have any superpower in existence or hasn't been invented yet, what would it be?
I thought about this. I spent some time with this one today. So my educational superpower, I texted the group chat from work. I was like, hey. So the first response said your sweet dance moves. So there's that. Because I am known from time to time, if kids aren't listening, to just start dancing. Because there's nothing more embarrassing to a 14-year-old than a 38-year-old woman dancing in class. They're like, don't do that. We can see you. Like, stop. But then the more serious follow-up, and I do think I kind of agree with this. It's just hard to be like, here's what I'm good at. I think I'm really good at making connections with my peers at work, like with my colleagues and also with my students. Like I work really hard for my room, not necessarily like physically that too, but for my room to be a comfortable space. And I think that I've created that for my students and that they feel comfortable being in there. Sometimes they feel too comfortable being in there. Teenagers, y'all, if you know, you know. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, hey, I took my shoes off. Do you want to know what my mom said last night? I'm like, no. What? So, but like, I really think that that's important, that level of comfort, because in, ELA, like, and with many subjects, we're talking about some tough stuff. So like, I want you to feel comfortable. I'm asking you to be vulnerable and put yourself out there and try and answer questions that you could be wrong with. So I really want to create that space. And I've worked for however many years now building that. And I think it's there. And my superpower, I don't know if this exists on some plane of wherever with the superpowers, but I would like the superpower to be able to immediately be fluent as a native speaker in every language I encounter. So I have all the cultural mannerisms and idioms and all that from all the different languages.
That is cool. I think that's like like a new one.
Yeah, that's the first time on the show.
TM. It's mine, TM. I trademarked it.
I'm sorry, you signed a waiver when you came on.
Yeah,
Rats, they got it. But right, maybe it's just because I want to talk all the time. I don't know.
Understand me. I love it. That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, that is a very good one. Rachel, you're up.
So my educational superpower would be like advocating. Like I am a diehard advocate for like my students' families, my coworkers. So like advocate, like I am just like, I think one of the goose chases we did, I even just a taste. One of the goose chases, I actually made myself into a superhero, and I named her like all about like our, advocate, part of. I don't want to give too much away, but part of PAECT. So, advocating in all like spots. My superpower is actually the same as Stephanie's, which is really funny because Stephanie and I met and we're like, whoop, we're best friends now.
We're in a coven.
Yeah. So So I absolutely love to travel, and I always want to know the languages and understand the culture of people. And even in my, interacting with families and students and making it easier for them to communicate with the families at school, because, a lot of times the students are the first English speaking in their household. So it will be really cool to be able to speak to their families and just make them feel comfortable, especially, my current position is kindergarten. I'm taking someone's whole heart and I'm taking it into my classroom, I'm taking their littlest baby with me. So not speaking a native language of a teacher who's going to teach their kid. So that's why I always wanted to do that too. Just I wanted to be able to travel and go to Paris and speak French and, do all the cool things, and go to Italy and speak Italian, but also to advocate for my students and their families and just make them feel comfortable.
That's great. Yeah. And speaking of advocating, we do have a committee that can use help, our advocacy committee. So we will reach out and put you in touch with people that know how to advocate.
Yes, please.
Definitely use the assistance. And that goes for not just the people here on the screen, but anyone who's a member of PAECT, please reach out to us. We're always looking for new voices to add to the conversation, not just to be on the pod, but to also work with PAECT, help out with regional boards, regional committees, state boards, state committees. So please, reach out if you're interested in participating more, or just want to learn more, reach out to us. Julie, what is your educational superpower, and what would your superpower be if you could have any that exist or don't even exist yet?
Oh, if I had to ask my students, they would probably say I have the ability to intimidate technology, because they would tell me, "Oh, Miss Miles, my iPad won't let me type. This is being dumb. I fix it." And I would get 2 steps close to their computer, and then boom, they'd be like, "Wait, well, it wasn't working a minute ago." But if I asked my colleagues, they would probably tell me that I usually end up trying to find the most efficient way to solve a problem, especially if it's something with tech. Today, we use Schoology at my district as our learning management system, and a bunch of our teachers were new to it last year. So trying to find just an easier way of they were doing so much clicking and trying to do something in such a very long breadcrumbed way. And I kind of was like, well, if you just click this one, and you're like, oh, that's amazing. I was like, yeah, I thought so too. And I found it. So I'm glad we're sharing the same brain bomb. So just trying to find an easier way to streamline things to make it more efficient. Cool. If I had to have just I don't know if a normal superpower, my Harry Potter heart, because I'm obsessed. All of my colleagues would also affirm to that. My entire classroom is Harry Potter. It's just amazing. Either to just cast spells, because that would be so cool, or to apparate, to transport myself, because that would be so cool. Because I'm really far from the office and my building, so to check my mailbox or go grab a coffee, that'd be so cool. Then I wouldn't have to leave my kids for that long. It's a long walk to my office.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, because you get your steps in when you have to go back and forth, but it does take a good chunk of time. And that's something my wife and my daughter are always you walk so fast, you don't want to walk with us. I'm like, you don't understand. I have 3 minutes to get from point A to point B and back. And it's trying to do that time race, especially as you get older. You gotta be trucking a little faster, and it's hard to gear down and get into that casual walk, when you're not on school grounds. So that's great. Although that's one of my fears, the whole teleportation. I always go back to Galaxy Quest. The first time they tried to teleport something and it turned inside out, it's that's my luck. Penny, you are up. What is your educational superpower, and what would be your superpower if you could have any that exist or do not exist yet?
My educational superpower is classroom management. From the moment I stepped into the classroom, my principal, my first year, said, "Your classroom management is amazing." He said, "You just turn and look at a kid and they stop." And I think because of that, I have amazing relationships with my students. I'm actually next month going to another wedding of one of my students from 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, in Florida. I'm flying to Florida for his wedding. So, it's a bummer to go to Florida in September, but
Somebody's got to do it.
yeah. I have friends that were students that my relationship with them, my room, just like Stephanie said, is the safe place to go. Everyone is welcome. We do a lunch and learn, so there's an hour for them. And some of them, especially freshmen, just like look around like, I don't know where to go and what to do. The cafeteria can be frightening. I know it was for me. And so they're like peeking their head and like, can we eat in here? I'm like, come on in. Come on in. So every year it changes. There's a different group of kids. Sometimes there's no one there. And it's just, it's definitely classroom management, and those relationships are my superpower. If I could have a superpower, I have my entire life wanted to be able to fly, get from point A to point B, but see everything below me. Before I could drive, I wanted to fly. Get there quickly. I wouldn't have to sit in traffic to go to work. There's one small caveat to that. I have a massive fear of falling to the point where I can't even walk up a ladder. But I want to fly. So if it happens that I can fly, I will somehow get over my fear.
Yeah, and you get to the wedding faster too. You wouldn't have to get there a couple hours ahead of time. Just go.
Yep.
Well, those are great educational superpowers and great creative superpowers.
Not only is this like a question that we love asking, obviously it's a little bit of a couch moment for Dom to work through some of his anxieties and his fears. Yes. So I truly appreciate you all helping Dom out during the pod. And I love hearing it. I think a lot of people, I love the fact that there are a lot of people that say connections are a superpower, and because not a lot of people think of it that way, but I think that's something that, good teachers do, but it is, even though a lot of us do it, there's still an art to it. So that's awesome. Really good to hear. And then I think Penny should piggyback. Not only do I want to fly, I want to be able to land. So make sure you add that to the flying. Yes. So make sure you have that one.
That's one of the things, my list of anxieties. I'm like, I throw that out to like my honors kids and my other classes to see what feedback. I'm like, so if I could fly, would I not fly because I have a fear of falling, or would my fear of falling not exist because I know I could fly? And it's this existential question, like, would the power be wasted, or would it not exist? Like the fear not exist?
Let's go with not exist.
It's like how many licks to get into the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop. The world may never know, Dom.
3. But the answer to the most important question in the universe is 42.
Okay.
Math. As a special study teacher.
I know, you're breaking out some numbers.
Yeah.
All right,
Dom, we have the same movie taste. I love these references. Love them.
Thank you. Thank you. That was like
when they start encouraging Dom, it's time to kick them off the room.
No. We're going to go longer. We're going in the bonus round now. I'm getting positive feedback. We're going to keep going. Because tomorrow's a floating in service day. I don't have to be there at a set time. I laughed at Isti. This guy tried to give me a math sticker, and I'm like, no. He's like, how about I'm like, no, I'm not touching math. It's my summer. I ran through the vendor area.
He did. Yep. Good stuff. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I truly thank you all so much for taking a leap, driving, which maybe seemed like the middle of nowhere, taking time out of your summer to attend a summit, which you knew I would say a little bit more than some people in the past have heard, but there's still a little bit of a cloak of showing up, right? And when I went, there was no tech. There was no, so it was like, hit the landline, call, okay, I'm going and I'll be back. And hopefully I make it back. Click, right? You guys at least had cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
But we truly appreciate you not only doing that, truly appreciate what you do, your heart, your passion, what you do for kids. And honestly, truly appreciate Dom and I do jokingly say it, but we really mean the podcast is very successful because of having amazing guests on, and you all set a new bar tonight. So I truly, truly appreciate you taking time out of your day, not only to Photoshop some beard work, but also just to share your hearts, put it out there. And we truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. So how many of you are back in service or teaching? Raise your hands. How many are back? How many are not back yet? Because the big smiles couldn't tell us. All right. Those of you who are back, keep going strong. Best of luck. Those of you who are going when we're waking up in the morning, we'll think of you fondly. And but hopefully that'll be coming soon. So thank you all. And hopefully we'll see you, chiming in on the pod. Hopefully we'll see you KTI chat. And hopefully we'll see you in February at Pete and C at the sweetest place on earth in Hershey. And if you're presenting, we'll make sure that we have a purple posse there to cheer you on. So excited to see you all. So thank you all so much for coming tonight.
And if you're going to be at Pete and C, don't forget we have the KTI Pre-Con on Sunday. And some of you I will see Thursday night at the book study. Although it is the last preseason game for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I will be multitasking.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Call on from the line. Make sure you pay attention.
Thank you, my Go Birds people. Thank you, because Missy Halcott, she gives me a hard time about a certain singer, but she referenced a song that wasn't released after the Super Bowl. It was supposed to be Turn Out the Lights. It was supposed to be a single that dropped when this young lady's boo won the Super Bowl. Turn Out the Lights on the Birds. However, they lost, so she didn't drop the single. But Missy knew about it. She's a super fan.
I love it.
All right. Well, thank you. Hey, listen, you do what you can. Dom is Dom. Truly, thank you all so much. And we'll be seeing you around the horn. And the other thing is PAECT meet and greet happens on Monday night. So if you're signing up for Pete and C, make sure to look for that. And we have a nice dinner and a get together. So, all right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Thank you very much for being on.
All right. Another amazing event there, buddy.
Yes.
Great stuff. Great questions. Great answers. Holy moly, great answers.
They were a great group, great guests. Appreciate it. Great. I only get to hang out with them for a day and a half, 2 days, but they were a great group of stars. And, that's one thing I look forward to every summer. Go up for a couple days, hang out, get to meet the new people, and then seeing them become more active in PAECT is always phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the third Tuesday of every month, we are going to be featuring Keith's AI Corner. So I know we've gone long, but we're still going to keep it going tonight. It's talking about school AI. So Keith's AI Corner will follow afterwards. We'll do some finishing up, we got a really awesome podcast coming up. I haven't even had a chance to tell Dom about our guest for next pod, but here we go with Keith's AI Corner.
Hey guys, it's Keith McRae here again from the Waynesboro Area School District. School for us in South Central PA. Kiddos start back next Tuesday. Let's take a quick look into School AI 2.0. This platform has been completely overhauled. I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet, but there is a lot of information to cover. So let's get to it. So when you get signed in to School AI, this is what School AI 2.0 is going to look like. We are greeted by the new smiling mascot of School AI. This is Dot. You'll notice here that the homepage does look a lot different than what it used to. We have 3 different categories here where you can create a student space. And in my opinion, this is still where School AI really does shine, with the guardrails that can be put into place. The fact that you get the transcripts of everything that is said between the student and the chat bot, And more importantly, if the student says anything that is concerning about self-harm, food insecurity, anything like that, that student's chat is paused and the teacher is alerted in their dashboard that they might need to go have a conversation with that kiddo. Second category over here is your teacher spaces. This is the AI that will help you create those awesome lesson plans, rubrics, engaging activities, whatever your heart can think of as an awesome teacher. And now we have the new thing. This is kind of more for your admin, where they can create a staff space for the entire building. They can include their handbooks. They can include policies, and the staff of the building can go there to get those quick answers for those frequently asked questions. Or if you're not sure what you want to do, you can come down here and just start a conversation with Dot, and Dot will help guide you towards whatever goals you may have. I also like the new power up features that they have. So these are things that you can include into student spaces. So it's not just a student typing to a chat bot and the chat bot responding back, or even using a microphone to do the speech to text and having the chat bot talk back to the student. You'll see here you can include chess games, maybe need a brain break as they're working through some of their stuff. Document generators, doodle boards, flashcards, graphing calculators, all of that can be embedded directly into the space to help to give the students more resources as they're working through that content area, and really help School AI act as a tutor for that student as they're going through it. Should also mention, this is just the short version of the power-ups, probably about half. There are a lot more that's going to be coming before the end of the year. Something I just want to show you too real quick with the updates. When you create your spaces, School AI now provides what they call an agenda. So it's not just up to you to try to figure out what the best prompt would be to get your best output. Dot is going to walk you through step by step, helping guide you to get the best output, while also kind of ingraining what the best prompts need to include so that you can still get the best output regardless of the platform that you choose to use in the future. School AI has a free version. I think it limits it to you can have 75 students interacting in a space per day. The paid version removes that cap entirely. And I also should say that in the future, I think they said by the end of the year, there's going to be a Chrome extension where you're going to be able to pull Dot into any website, any document, anything that you have on there, and they're going to be able to use the information based just off that website or that document or that slideshow and create spaces pulled off that. So it's also narrowing that research gap. It's not just going out to some huge LLM. It is only going to use the resources that you tell it it can use, kind of in the same way as Notebook LM, but nowhere near what Notebook LM can do. The AI platform race isn't changing day by day. It's not changing hour by hour. It's changing almost minute by minute. So I just kind of encourage you, get on here, play around, see what you can do. And as always, if you create something great, please share with us. We love to hear the great work that our awesome teachers out there are doing. Until next time, thank you.
Love it. Keith's Corner. Yeah. Some good stuff.
Great information from Keith.
Yeah, and I truly believe with again, I think he hit the nail on the head. Like, it's always been like, you know, you and I joke Apple, Microsoft, and you got Google in the mix, and there's always like a little bit of a step, like, oh, we step up, we step up, we step up. Gosh, the AI thing, like it's by the minute it's changing, and whether you're ChatGPT, whether you're Perplexity, whether you're using the Comet browser, you're using Copilot and Edge, there's just so much. So we truly appreciate Keith and that work. And I do know, you know, it's a long pod tonight, but I felt it was important to have his Keith's Corner kind of hit. So I truly appreciate that. So now listen, Dom, just to give people a little bit of a teaser, I can't even tell you exactly the specifics about the next pod. I can tell you Judy Keller, one of our South Central PAECT members, will be on. She is, I believe they're calling him a champion now with the Google program. And she and I joked that she didn't realize I was as well. From the training side, we're actually under NDA to have a conversation about what the NDA lifts just in time for the next PACT pod. So we're going to be coming to you with some amazing, hot off the griddle information about what Google's got coming down the pike for educators. So our next podcast in September will be featuring Judy Keller. And you can check her out on Twitter and the different socials. But we'll be discussing some brand new, videos are just going to be coming out. Things are just going to be released that day live from Google. So we're excited to have her on.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah.
That is super
So it was
cool.
funny in the meeting when she's like, well, I can't talk to you about what's happening, but it's so exciting. And I get my phone out and I pull up an email and I show her. She's like, oh, and I'm like, I got a couple NDAs as well. So anyway, so that's so gonna be some exciting stuff. So we have that going on. I think we'll save PACT updates for the next show. Truly appreciate it. We're live on LinkedIn, live on Facebook, live on YouTube. We've sent out a couple of videos just this evening to our TikTok. We're working on building that up. So we're trying to hit all the socials, get the information out. And this is going to be an amazing podcast to put out there to have teachers hear about it. Go ahead.
Check out PACT.org for more information. I know we're not going to get into details. There's a lot going on. We're looking for presenters. Pete and C still has their call out for presenters. Check out PACT.org to get that information and go from there. And before we get into sponsors, I have to apologize. Toddle, one of our great new sponsors, I didn't get a chance between the board meeting, prepping to send people off to college, prepping to go back to school, family birthdays, family trips. I didn't get the sponsor list updated. I apologize for that, but special shout out for Toddle, who hosted us at a dinner. One of our sponsors, but I promise they will be up there for our next thank you video.
Yeah, well, you know what? Let's just do it live. Thank you to all of our sponsors. We have our Tier 3 sponsor, EduSpire. Our Tier 2 sponsors, we've got ClassLink, Teachers First, Lego Education, and Toddle. And we truly want to thank our KTI sponsors. We have Sam Labs, who is moving over to our Tier 2 sponsors. We've got DRC, Tinkerworks, and Gettysburg College just for that KTI. So we truly appreciate all of our sponsors. We couldn't do it without you because we are
the voice of ed tech in Pennsylvania
and
beyond.
So thank you so much. Again, we truly appreciate everything that our sponsors do. We truly appreciate everybody for being on, and we hope you have an amazing first days of school.
Take care. PAECT and the PAECT Pod would like to thank all of our sponsors. Our Tier 3 sponsors, EduSpire, Tech the Next Step. Our Tier 2 sponsors, ClassLink, more time learning, less time logging in. Teachers First. Lego Education. Once again, PAECT and the PAECT Pod would like to thank all of our sponsors for the support that allow us to do what we do. Thank you.